Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. Cloud Imperium recently talked about AI and NPCs in an AI roundtable and Q&A, covering NPC crew, new missions, NPC ships and ground forces and their reinforcements, and much, much more. I've added some bits here as well on AI blades and the Quanta system for a bit more context, but let's take a look at the summary of the questions and answers. What is needed, tech-wise, to have hireable NPC crew? It's going to be a while before we have hireable NPC crew in-game. There are a lot of behaviours they need to build out for various AI, from idles to eating to relaxing to combat to using stations to repair. Each they build out is a step closer to having NPC crew of your own. This is true even of them doing coffee vendors and bartenders. It's all additional steps to completing AI and their various behaviours. You'll be able to hire NPC crew for your ship eventually and give them commands and roles. These custom assignments may be able to be quite complex. However, some NPCs might be very poorly suited to a task, and that could cause them to take a long time to do a particular task or break a system that they're assigned to. It may also affect their morale if they're doing something they hate doing. They are still working out the user interfaces and how to expose these features to players as well. So even when they've got AI and NPCs working pretty well, they still need to expose how you buy these crew, how you assign them these roles, how you tell them exactly what to do. If you asked a janitor to fix a mechanical or electrical system, they might struggle. Obviously, they still need to build out a load of gameplay systems like damage control, the ability to have systems and items damaged and destroyed, physicalized components, how do you repair them, fires, how you put them out, how you make all of these individual systems usable by the AI. Other important parts before they can add this into game fully would be things like full persistence and the dynamic universe simulation, so NPCs and crews will be simulated outside of a player's view. Another thing is that Star Citizen adds a lot of complexity with situations in an ever-changing environment that is much less restricted than other games, and NPCs will need to have animations and behaviours to cover that. Sometimes multiple ways of doing the same thing will be necessary. They also need to be aware of items and where they move to, so I need to find a broken fuse, or I need to find a data pad, or someone's moved a body, there's blood, I need to find out where this has gone. A lot of what they are doing is currently Squadron 42 focused, with deck crew and ship repair, while on the Idris, for example, but obviously lots of combat behaviours and combat-based things with NPC buddies and you moving around with a group and then being aware of where you are. Over the last few years, they've built out a very efficient set of tools to allow for this to all be built out more quickly and added and sort of built upon more readily. I want to talk a little bit about AI blades, because AI blades are likely going to be the first form of automation or AI on our ships that we can use to replace a player or crew. So AI blades are a term for plug-in modules for ships, for a computer, that allows the automation of a certain system or systems or additional functionality. The main one here that people will talk about a lot is the ability to control turrets with these AI blades. So basically, bam, you plug in the AI blade module and that turret is now able to shoot down missiles and torpedoes, or shoot at fighters, or do a basic set of functions. Now, it's not going to be as good as an NPC crewman. It's not going to be as good as a player. So players are the best, then NPC crew, then sort of automated AI blades. At least roughly speaking, I suppose, because that's not going to be true of all situations, and there are going to be reasons why you would want to use an AI blade over an NPC crewman, for example. No downtime and less cost, for example, as well. AI blades are sort of in the game now, these AI modules, in some form. So there's a lot of work that's gone into them already, and the Bengal carrier and other large ships have AI turrets, basically these AI modules that are able to track and target enemies and communicate their target to other AI. They need more work before they're in players' hands. There's no way a player can buy and use AI blades currently, but CIG's devs need to expose this to the player somehow. Where do you buy them? Where do they slot into your ship? How do they function exactly? There isn't a timeline on that yet, but obviously they are working on that. AI blades will take up a computer or blade slot, and you're going to be limited to the amount of AI blades you can use on your ship. And it's more than just turrets that they can control. So there are some possible functions that may be things like automatically launching countermeasures, e-war enhancement, access to specific databases like bounty hunting or trading info, auto shield management, drone management, blades for efficiency as well, for like speeding up mining or scanning, ones for security or encryption. There are many, many more that might exist in the future as well. So Cloud Imperium are still working out exactly what blades will encompass gameplay-wise, but I would expect them to be in-game and in players' hands well before we see NPC crew widely used. What will AI Nav Mesh allow for, and when are we getting it? The Nav Mesh updates will allow NPCs, friendly and hostile, to appear at new points of interest and move around them more freely. In theory, you could kite NPCs to areas very far away, potentially around the planet and into cities and things like that, sort of. They are close to having something implemented. Now, obviously, kiting them goes against what they would want their behaviors to be, so there's a bit of conflicting stuff going on there. Like, yes, you could kite them, but when they build the AI out a bit better, there's only a certain distance they'll follow you, and for certain reasons. But AI Nav Mesh, that seems like it's going to be at some point later this year. We're going to see big updates to that. Design are currently building missions for it. It might be something that we see in the game later this year. This tech is used for both vehicles, ships, and NPCs on foot as well. So we don't know what order of release that's going to be in. It might be a load of it at the same time. We might just see NPCs on foot. We might see ships being able to come in. Eventually, we're going to see NPCs in more places and as part of missions. And they say, again, this is going to be by the end of the year, but always take times given by Cloud Imperium with a pinch of salt. This will also be used to have NPCs choose landing locations. So they'll be able to fly in a ship and sort of dynamically choose a landing location. And landing zones are going to be fleshed out with more activity, because ships will be able to come and go and actually go, oh yeah, there's cargo ships moving around. Will ships be able to bring in Marines as reinforcements at points of interest? At the moment, they're testing with sort of AI and NPCs on foot and ships separately. But yes, in the future, dropships will be able to bring in reinforcements and take reinforcements off planets from an area and move them around. They do need to get ramps, elevators, and ladders working. And obviously they might go, some ships will be able to do this and not others in the first implementation, because they'll just go, well, you know, we'll just use ramps rather than NPCs needing to work out how to use elevators and ladders. Will AI destroy part ships even if players are not in them? The plan is for AI to only attack ships that have someone in them, at least at the moment. Otherwise, they'll try to engage sort of players directly. In the future, they may lock a ship down and secure it, search for a player within it. They will have varying levels of skill, the AI, intelligence, tactics, and reactions. So it's going to be based on NPC traits, how they actually react and what they actually do. You might have more aggressive or cowardly or highly trained NPCs. Will there only be combat NPCs, or will we see medical and utility ones? So there will be NPCs in Squadron 42 that go around healing, so that will make its way into the persistent universe at some point. You'll also have NPCs reviving and releasing prisoners and restrained actors, that sort of stuff, so bear that in mind. There's obviously going to be civilians running around that don't necessarily have weapons. What usables and items can NPCs interact with now? NPCs will be able to interact with many props, assets, and items in-game. These usables can have players interact with them too. In the case of ship components, you'll be able to change subcomponents and fuses, but also get NPCs to do that too. They might walk around repairing and doing maintenance, or just inspecting a panel or system as part of their route. They can currently interact with panels and some components and sort of remove subcomponents, inspect components, and then put those items back. This isn't limited to wall panels. It could also be a data panel or other object too. Will AI loot dead players? NPCs will investigate bodies. They may use ammo or items on bodies if they need them. So they go, oh, my gun's running low. Let me just check this container, which could be a body, for appropriate ammo. There might be a usable that they're after or need there as well, like a mission item or something that they're tasked to get. Though Cloud Imperium didn't say that NPCs would loot items beyond that. They will have to search and find things. NPCs won't be all-knowing. How are you improving AI performance? They are working on various performance tasks, and mostly this is focusing on servers, so they need to sort of make NPCs and assets around players as efficient as possible, because if you've got lots of players in lots of different areas being run by one server, and they've all got loads of NPCs near them, well, that can be quite a strain. They have an animation idle that will trigger if there's an issue with loading a usable animation, or if things aren't working properly. It's basically covering up the issue, but not breaking immersion, while an NPC goes, I'm supposed to be doing something, I'll do this until I know what I'm doing. In general, they are fixing various bugs that will help with NPCs and their performance. Server meshing is really going to help with performance as well. There is a load of quickly answered questions. Let me just summarize them. NPCs can use grenades in internal builds, but they need a refresh to actually use them properly in-game. NPCs will become frustrated when they miss a train or tram. They are going to be working on some animal NPCs for Squadron very soon, and that should feed back into the persistent universe. The AI will express their moods, and their traits will affect their actions. Cloud Imperium continue to work on the quantum system as well. That is basically the dynamic universe simulation and the tracking of quanta and AI or NPCs or whatever, and the physicalization of them when necessary. All of the AI systems tie into this in some way, as does the economy and loads of other stuff. And NPCs' traits, as well as their loadouts, ships, weapons, and all that jazz will be defined by that system. Expect to see more things beyond just fuel and repair prices controlled by quanta in-game in the not too distant future, and I would expect Cloud Imperium to show a lot more of what's working with the quantum system and the dynamic universe sim and AI and NPCs at CitizenCon 2022. Boom! That's it for your AI and NPC updates today. There is a huge amount of work necessary to get functional, clever, and appropriate AI and NPCs in Star Citizen in the way that they want them to make it a truly massively multiplayer online game with a load of PvE content and interesting fights and capital ships working and a huge range of things. Yeah, I think AI is probably one of the systems that needs the most work, so it's sort of netcode, AI, and core gameplay. But anyway, what do you think? Did you like Cloud Imperium talking about AI and NPCs, or do you sort of like just want to see the sausage once it's made rather than the sausage being made and them talking about what delicious spices could go into a future sausage? Are you really hoping to see AI blades or NPC crew? And is that sort of what you're super excited about? Like, yeah, I've got this huge ship and yeah, I've got some friends potentially to run it with, but we need AI blades and NPC crew to help out with that. Or maybe you're just wanting to run a ship entirely effectively solo, just with AI. Do you think we will see this nav mesh with AI being able to move around planets and loads more missions by the end of the year? Or do you think Cloud Imperium, they're biting off more than they can chew, and it's going to be like next year before we see anything like that? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. I saw NordVPN once. I was in a forest, late at night. I'd got lost, and then I heard it, an unearthly sound as if the wind was talking to me. NordVPN.com/BoredGamer. Then I saw him run at me. He was so free, almost as if he could be anywhere in the world. America, France, Australia. He was so secure, protected in layers of encryption that I could not even fathom. So majestic. Well, I heard that NordVPN was as big as a bear and could kick your head off. I've also heard that, which is why, just in case, I go to nordvpn.com/BoredGamer to appease the beast. You can find links to that down below. If you're looking for a new god, why not try NordVPN? Every month we have a ship giveaway. This time for May, to celebrate Star Citizen Alpha 3.17's release, we're giving away 3 prizes to 3 separate winners. An Origin 100i luxury starter ship, a consolidated Outland Nomad versatile freighter, and an Aegis Avenger Titan multi-role ship. They all come with lifetime insurance and access to play Star Citizen. To be in for a chance of winning one of those 3 prizes, just comment on any of my videos made during May. More details in the description below. Thank you so much to everyone that watches, shares, comments, and likes my videos. It really does help the channel grow. Be sure to subscribe for more content. If you would like to go to the extra mile in supporting the channel, there is Patreon links below. There's a join button under my videos as well on YouTube that makes you a highly elite channel member with some extra perks and exclusive content. There's also the thanks button, which straight up gives us money, and you can leave a highlighted comment. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great May 2022.